The atmosphere felt unusually thick, vibrating with a tension so subtle, yet unmistakable that it seemed to hum beneath my skin. A silent anticipation lingered in the space between us, a crackle of energy that refused to dissipate. His gaze, sharp and unwavering, bore into me, unblinking, unmoving, as if he had waited an eternity for this exact moment. It wasn't a casual glance anymore. It was focused, intense, hungry. I could feel its weight pressing against me, warm and persistent. For so long he had shown restraint, keeping his emotions neatly contained, folding them into quiet moments and unspoken thoughts. But now that mask had crumbled. The calm facade was gone. Every inch of his presence vibrated with something newly awakened, something bold and unfiltered. I turned toward him slowly, deliberately catching his gaze with my own. This time, I didn't look away, neither did he. He was no longer a silent witness to our shared moments. He had stepped beyond the boundary of passive observation. My fingers rose gently, almost absent-mindedly, and curled in a quiet invitation. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. He inhaled sharply, the motion barely audible, but I caught at the quick hitch of breath, the slight tension that wound through his frame like a coiled spring preparing to move. And then, without a single word, he stood. The air shifted. Everything changed. Before we go deeper into this tale, I invite you to pause just for a second and support this channel by liking this video and subscribing. It's free, takes barely a breath of your time, and yet it helps more than you might ever guess. Plus, you'll never miss the next story. Now, let's continue this journey together. He approached slowly, each step silent, yet the magnetic pull between us felt unmistakable. It was as though something ancient and wordless was drawing us closer. I could feel his energy brushing against mine before his hands ever did. We moved together, not touching, yet perfectly in rhythm. With each breath that passed through my lungs and every tiny shift of movement, a radiant heat bloomed beneath my skin. It was warm and steady, and it carried the promise of something deeper. Stay close to me, I murmured, the words barely escaping my lips, a secret meant only for him. My voice trembled with the weight of what I was feeling. The charged air between us didn't waver, it thickened. He didn't answer, not verbally, but I felt the response in his exhale, soft and measured, as he gently folded me into his arms. In that moment, we weren't just sharing space. We were entangled in something far more intimate, far more profound. For what felt like eternity and yet passed in a blink, we simply existed together. His fingers traced slow, tender circles against my back, a rhythm that matched the gentle rise and fall of his chest. I sank into him, letting go of everything except the feel of his touch and the comforting cadence of his breathing. But even in that quiet, I sensed something lingering. He hadn't spoken for some time. I tilted my head slightly, peering up at him. "You've gone quiet," I whispered, a faint smile tugging at my lips. He chuckled, the sound low and warm. Almost sheepish, just thinking, he said at last. My smile deepened. There was a glint in his eyes, something unspoken, something still held close. I trailed my fingers along his skin, tracing meaningless patterns, and softly asked, "What's on your mind?" His pause was small but noticeable. "Barely there." But I caught it, and that made it all the more intriguing. He was weighing something, measuring it in his mind before it ever reached his lips. "I've been wondering," he began, his voice careful and low, "what it would be like if we explored something new, together." My breath caught ever so slightly. "New?" His eyes found mine. "Not another man," he clarified, slowly. "Someone different, someone unexpected. A guest." The words dropped into the space between. It's like a stone into water. The ripples were immediate and inescapable. My heart skipped, stumbled, then raced. I didn't respond, not at first. I wasn't sure if I could. A dozen emotions surged within me: confusion, curiosity, fear, and something else I didn't dare name just yet. I turned my face into the pillow, trying to breathe through it, make sense of it. The idea didn't vanish, it lingered like smoke, curling through my thoughts. It visited me again during my morning coffee, during quiet moments when I was alone. It was absurd, I told myself. This wasn't something I'd ever thought about before. Certainly not something I considered under his watchful gaze. And yet the strangeness of the idea began to dissolve the more I let it live in my mind. Curiosity slowly took its place, small at first, almost timid, but steady. There was something about the way he looked at me afterward, something different in the way he lingered with his eyes, the way his hand hovered just a second longer on my skin. Could this really change us? Would it? The question refused to leave. Me, it hovered at the edge of everything I did. I began to wonder not just about how he would see me, but how I would see myself. If I crossed this invisible line, would I still feel like me? Despite the uncertainty, something stirred beneath the surface, an excitement I didn't expect. Not wild or frantic, but quietly insistent, a slow, blooming thrill. I wanted to understand this part of him. I wanted to give him something he clearly craved. And maybe, just maybe, I wanted to know what it would feel like for me. Once I had made the decision, I committed to it fully. There was no room for second guessing. I found the right person at the right time in the right way. I crafted everything with care and intention, every word, every moment. And now all that remained was to watch it unfold. That morning, as sunlight spilled through the windows and the quiet comfort of routine settled over us, I reached for him. My fingers gently stroked the soft curve of his shoulder. He stirred but didn't fully wake. I leaned in close, my voice barely audible. "Be home by 8, I said softly. No questions. Just trust me." His eyes fluttered open, sleepy and warm, a smile forming as he stretched. "What happens at 8? He murmured. I held his gaze. Let the question linger unanswered for just a moment longer than necessary. "You'll see," I replied, and the smallest flicker of curiosity sparked in his expression. He moved to ask again, but he knew me too well. He recognized the quiet certainty in my tone. "I'll be here," he promised. Good. Because tonight, everything would change. Evening arrived faster than I expected. My heart beat steadily, though a low hum of nerves vibrated beneath my skin. As he stepped into the room, I took his hand, offering nothing but a soft smile and a whispered, "Come with me." The hallway felt different, charged, as though the very walls held their breath. I led him to the door, just slightly ajar. Where? A warm light spilled into the corridor. Golden and inviting, we stepped inside. There she sat, poised and confident, a vision of effortless grace on the edge of the bed. She didn't need to announce her place in this moment. It was already hers. Her eyes met mine first, shimmering, with an unreadable expression, then slowly slid to him. I felt the shift in his breath, the tension that danced just beneath his skin. He wasn't just seeing her. He was feeling the weight of the moment, its gravity, its implications. The room held its breath. She rose ever so slightly, and her fingers grazed mine. A feather-light touch. Barely there. And yet it was everything. Gliding up my arm with intention and playful allure, I instinctively turned toward her, captivated me. Breath hitching as her hands glided over my skin. There was an essence to this. It felt distinct, fresh, and unknown, yet utterly captivating, tentative. Meeting of hearts, cautious, yet undeniable, was gentle, unheard, a cautious touch of lips probing before evolving into something deeper. Me. Body reacted instinctively, leaning into her touch as my hands sought out her waist, savoring the warmth that radiated. Beneath my fingertips, a soft breath escaped from behind, measured and deliberate, yet undeniably present. I didn't need to glance back to sense his gazebo, understand that he was experiencing every moment of faces. Intensely as I was, we lingered, relishing the gradual unfolding. Her hands glided with intention, slipping beneath the fabric, leading me gradually into a realm more profound. Touch ignited a wave of warmth with a gradual unfolding of discovery, causing me to trembling. Then she stepped forward with confidence. Her lips departed from my meandering along a slow, intentional route, relishing each caress, the feeling of myth barriers between us, gently fell away, barely registered his fingers, brushed lightly against my newly revealed skin. Each movement was deliberateless, as though she were in perfect harmony with every reaction I offered. Her presence traced invisible patterns upon me. First then descended lower meticulously, following the contour of my torso with intentional grace. Me breath caught as she navigated with deliberate graceful feeling coursing through me like a jolt of electricity. A gentle, lingering caress at my hips ignited a shiver within my body, responding with instinctive fervor. There was no haste, merely the deliberate unfolding of expectation, a gradual intensification of warmth that left me breathless, and then her touch became more purposeful. A wave of warmth enveloped me, causing my breath to falter. My breath became erratic, each movement pulling me deeper. Enveloped in the myriad sensations surrounding me, her rhythm remained unwavering, a consistent tempo that layered upon itself each intentional movement, holding me captive in the present. A distant sound, low and strained, pierced through the haze, prompting me to turn my head slightly, my vision blurring at the periphery. My beloved partner, he remained in the chair, thou just on the edge of it. His hands clutched the arms firmly, his chest rising and falling with a deliberate calmness. His eyes were fixed on me, his face a mask of inscrutability. Every nuance of his being, his stance, the tautness in his frame, it communicated more than words ever could. It was on the brink of unraveling. The atmosphere hung heavy laden with a silent comprehension. It was no longer merely an observer, was entangled in this as deeply as I was. I locked eyes with him, my fingers extending in his direction. Gesture subtle yet intentional, it was merely an invitation, a subtle recognition that his presence held significance equal to all else in that moment. His hands relaxed, his body coiled with tension, and then at last he rose to his feet. As he advanced, the atmosphere in the room transformed. I sensed it before his figure came into view, the gravity of his presence, warmth radiating from his skin. As he approached, his hands settled on my waist, fingers pressing and gently igniting a subtle thrill within me. I raised my gaze. I found his eyes locked onto mine, deep and intense, brimming with an unvoiced emotion. Then his lips met mine. The kiss lingered, drunk with unspoken emotions, a gentle draw, a serene yielding. I melted against him, enveloped by his warmth as his fingers traced my back. Thank you, he whispered, his voice soft against my lips. A chill coursed through me, not merely from his words, but from the very manner in which he uttered them. This moment encapsulated all his deepest desires. Then she stirred a subtle movement on the bed, her presence palpable even before I turned to look. She observed him, observing you, as a gradual, understanding smile gracing her lips. Her gaze held no hesitation, no uncertainty, only a quiet confidence radiated from her. As she leaned in, her fingers gliding over his stomach, descending lower until he released a sharp exhale, I remained transfixed. As she pressed her lips along his body, her fingers, wandering playfully, tantalizing me, lips lingered on his, my fingers entwined in his hair, sensing the subtle tremor that coursed through him. His breath came in deeper, more measured gasps, his body responding to each subtle shift she made. His fingers gripped my back with increasing intensity as she honed in a low sound escaping from his throat. His breath faltered as it brushed against my lips. Reaction ignited a spark within Methway, his body tightened. Way his fingers pressed into my hips as if seeking something to anchor himself. It was mesmerizing to observe it, sense his response to each deliberate motion, every change in his breath. And then I flowed with hurry, let my kisses wander down his jawline, neglecting along his neck, savoring the warmth of his pulse against my lips, while it descended further until I found myself beside here, emotions entwined in a quiet comprehensioness, head tilted backward, breath hitching and snared in the fleeting instant shared between us. Each sound he uttered ignited a new surge of warmth within my, intensifying the moment and drawing me further into its depths. Tension emanated from him, his hands clutching the sheets tightly. Our journey was far from over, a transition, a movement. Instantiash lay on the bed, now beneath mere breath, a warm whisper against my skin. Her hands enveloped me, directing my form with a gentle insistencia, quick breath escaping my lips as she commenced. Me fingers intertwined with the sheets, a wave of sensation enveloped me, deliberate, tantalizing caresses pulling me into depths unknown, causing my head to tilt back and surrender in. Then he drawing closer with an undeniable urgency, a deep exhale escaping his lips as he moved with purpose. Soft Gasps slipped from her lips. Her breath, catching against my skin. Each movement resonated through me. His essence, unwavering, resolutive. Fervor of it was unmistakably. His hands anchored here each movement, eliciting a response deep within me. The warmth of her breath, the gentle touch of her hands, the soft caress of her lips upon my skin. Experience overwhelmed me. Heady blend of sensations that quickened my heartbeat. It was he who unraveled me. The intensity of his gaze upon me. His eyes met mine. Deep and laden with fervor, each movement he made sent a shiver through his body. It was his unwavering gazette way he reached for me that truly captivated us. Fingers grazed my skin. His lips enveloping me. That was the moment that dismantled me. Entirely my body tightened, my breath halted in, the feeling washed over me in surges. I found myself in the company of others, let out a deep groan, his grip tightening us. Body quaking as the moment enveloped him. His voice hung in the air deep and gravelly, uttering my name, and then there was silence. His forehead rested against my knee, his breath lingering in an uneven rhythm, languid, contented. Breath escaping his lips, a soft, breathless chuckle escaped my lips, me fingers remaining entwined in the sheets. I tilted my head just to numb me lips, grazing his ears, softly joyful. His arms encircled me, drawing me near as he placed a tender kiss upon my shoulder. Beyond your understanding, some thoughts remain hidden in the shadows of our minds, yet what if the finest among them are destined to be realized? Have you ever harbored a hidden desire that you kept to yourself? What transpired when you finally chose to unveil it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I've perused each and every one, and my curiosity is piqued. Before you leave, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It costs nothing, requires just a moment, and ensures you won't overlook the next tally. Activate the notification bell to be among the first to discover when a new release arrives. See if this resonated with you. Consider sharing it with someone who might appreciate it just as much. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Until we meet again.